Hey there. Welcome to the Traveling History Buff. My name is James. Today, we're going to talk about the Texas Archives War. In 1836, Texas declared independence and soon became an independent republic. The capital moved from city to city over the years, and in 1839, President Lamar moved the capital and archives to Waterloo, later named Austin. At the time, Austin was a fledgling frontier town on the edge of civilization. Indian attacks were common. Sam Houston became president again in 1841 and was determined to move the capital back to the city of Houston. He even refused to stay in the official residence, instead staying in Miss Angelina Everly's boarding house. We'll get to her in just a moment. The citizens were determined to keep the capital in their city. They formed a committee of safety and warned that if anybody moved the capital, it would result in bloodshed. In March 1842, Mexico invaded San Antonio, leaving Austin vulnerable to attack. Sam Houston used this as an excuse to get the capital moved, and in December of 1842, he ordered the capital was no longer in Austin, and officials moved to Washington on the Brazos. He also ordered the archives to be moved as well. Miss Angelina Everly spotted the men loading the wagons and sprung into action. She fired the city cannon at the land office building, blowing a hole through the wall. Commissioner Thomas Ward of the land office described the event. Much excitement prevailed here. A howitzer loaded with grape shot was discharged at my residence after I heard the cry of, "Blow the old house to pieces." 8 shots perforated the building, and had the mob have continued their fire, I could not have answered for the consequences, as I undoubtedly should have defended myself to the last. The wagons took the upper route by Kinney's because of the people living on Brushy not being so violent against the removal as those living below, or on the road to Bastrop. And to prevent violence to the papers, I sent 2 of the land office clerks in charge of them with positive instructions to take special care of the boxes and their contents, and not to interfere with the people in case of their rioting with the wagon guard, but to keep an eye single to their charge, and not on any account to give them up to any person, which I must regret to inform you, they could not do. The men fled north to Fort Kinney along Brushy Creek in Williamson County. There, they surrendered the archives under gunpoint, following orders from Sam Houston not to resort to bloodshed. He said, "The time has come, and if the citizens of Austin should offer any violence to their removal, you will have them safely deposited in some house and have a confidential man left in charge of them. If the people of Austin are really in good earnest to keep the archives safe, as they are, and you cannot bring them without violence, and should deem it wise and prudent to leave them, then the people can protect them." The archives were returned to Austin. However, it would not become the capital again until 1845. Then in 1850, Texans voted by a large majority to keep the capital in Austin. Had the citizens not stood their ground, Austin may very well have died. I can't imagine it was easy living during those times. I found an article on roundrocktexas.gov that sums it up perfectly. It reads, "It has been suggested that Houston wanted the archives and the capital moved more out of a personal dislike of Austin than because of any real danger. However, Austin was not well protected, and many Austinites knew it. One account states that 90% of the town's population left within 24 hours of the hearing that San Antonio had been captured by a Mexican army. Fewer than half returned. The threat of Indian attack was also ever present. 5 Austinites were attacked just 2 miles from the city in September, and Land Office Commissioner Ward reported an attack in January of 1843. Sam Houston was apparently well justified in his belief that Austin was not safe. The residents of Austin were also correct in believing that if the wreckage were moved, the city would begin to die. Austin won the war because its residents were more tenacious than Sam Houston. Today, Austin is a thriving capital city, thanks in large part to those early settlers who had the fortitude to stick it out. Well, that's all for this week. I'll see you guys next month when we travel to Leander to discuss the Webster Massacre. Bye!